You should know I believe in you. Every race you run, you're my number one.
So let's talk about Shakeology. So how sure, how committed, how real is the effect of the Shakeology in your life? How much have you read about each ingredient? Did you Google each ingredient? Did you ask, like in platform like that, all the questions that you want to ask, so that you as a consumer and as a reflection of a being who lived it, whether it's the workout program, the Shakeology, the eating behaviors, that you lived it in such a profound, real way that is 100% committed. So that no matter what comes at you, you are not insecure and in doubts and in insecurity. Then you feel vacillated by the doubts of others. Now, that doesn't mean if they don't buy and believe what I say, they're idiots by any means. But it means that you are in the know. It is real for you and nothing can sway you. That allows you to be more relaxed, more chill, more open, more able to listen to the negative feedback and not be drawn into it and be defensive and trying to make your point and protect and try to convince, right? So it's not from a convincing place to me as much as it is from, oh, wait, I don't understand that statement. Please, can you explain that? So you're saying that this $30 protein shake, now let's go into the fact that the Shakeology is so much more than a protein. I don't even understood when this story started coming, what's the difference between protein shake and Shakeology? I was like, well, it's not a protein shake. So I'm not understanding that. I don't get it. But I've learned to understand where that came from. But so somebody comes with that argument and you can say, well, do you know where each ingredient is sourced in your company? Do they know they're farmers? Do they have access to regular testing? Do you know anything about your CEO? That bag at Walmart, do you know anything about it except what's written in it? Do you have access, like you guys have access to all of us in a very transparent way? Do you talk to any of them? Are they showing up? Are they somewhere that you can contact them? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like there's so many questions that you can ask, investigate where they're knowing that $30 bag is better than your bag. What is their knowing? What is their commitment? What is their 100% why, right? So you can ask this question. Now, I think it's even more powerful if you do not go about it trying to convince them through these questions. But if you can really ask the questions, because maybe you'll discover something, maybe you'll have a real conversation, and maybe they'll see why you're so enthusiastic about your product, right? Or your platform. So to me, it's always been like that. And so many times in my life, by being more curious, more open to being wrong for that individual, I've learned, I've grown, I can get information that I can utilize, as opposed to this rejection. They rejected me. They rejected my product and trying to go at it, and it's a battle. And I think every time you get yourself in a place of battle, it is frustrating. And overall, because I'm much more into the overall well-being of a human being, overall, if you have several of those a day working for Beachbody, I think it's a very unpleasant job. But if you go about it with curiosity and with deep, grounded knowing of your why, then it's a whole other experience. And I think that you also will not waste your time with a person who's really not into it, with whatever reason. But you might be more inventive and creative in how to talk about the product, because you're not defending yourself. But if there's doubt or defending yourself in that call, then I said recently, it might be interesting for you if somebody brings doubt why is it $120? I don't understand. I can buy it a lot. If that brings doubt to you, I would write it down. I would write down the doubt that suddenly came from you, and then I would take care of that doubt. And when that doubt is gone, because you did your research, you asked the right question, you went back on our website or talked to these Zooms, or all the videos and information that's available. If you found your answer there and you discover what your doubt was about, then that call was a great call, whether you made a sale or not, because it made you better. It made you stronger. And it made it sure, are you really sure you're happy sharing this product with others? Do you feel really, really good about it? And I think that's as important as anything you ingest, drink, work out, because your emotional and psychological state is crucial to your well-being, and your body reacts from that stress on the level of emotions and mental, intellectual, psychological. So to me, I welcome all that, and I welcome it to enrich my own experience of the product and to make sure that I'm real about it. So this is why Carl, at some point recently in the last few years, have asked me to come and explain my why. And this is why I love the Beachbody platform, because the Beachbody platform to me is a reflection of exactly what happened to me in my life. I think you all know my story. So as I was ill, not helped, not supported, not in the know, completely lost, what I knew about health didn't work. Doctors couldn't help me. I was alone. I was broke, and then it forced that place in me of, the survival instinct. I can't be in the street and I can't die. I can't be sick, because you feel, if you're that in a chronic disease or when you're incapable of functioning at all, there's a sense of, oh my God, I'm going to die. There's a sense of like urgency, and that brought up a strength and a desire to go outside my limitation and research and platforms that I was not privy of. So I discovered alternative medicine. I discovered herbs, adaptogen mushrooms, adaptogen herbs, botanicals, the microbiome, the prebiotic, probiotic, fermented food, digestive enzymes, systemic enzymes, plain fiber, how important fiber was. I discovered all these things, the power of food, and I discovered also human beings that were there to educate me and to support me and help me keep going a little step at a time. Little step one, it took me about 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years to get back to a place where I could function and start paying my debts. So, the Beachbody platform represents all of that. It is, the shake is a culmination of all that I've learned when I put it together on a list of ingredients for Carl. And then I met this amazing guy, Erin, who was as in love through his own experiences with the very same elements of life, of food, of plants. He is as passionate about it. So, oh my God, life brought me this incredible partner to create this incredible shake. And then Carl created an incredible platform where peer support is so important, and where everybody's lesson, everybody else now that's on board with Erin and I, that are crucial to creating our products. So now we put our experiences and knowing and what helped us as human beings in helping you to be active, to be physical every day of your life, helping you to understand food, and giving you, all these whole food formulas that are there to support your well-being in a well-planned way of living and taking care of yourself. So all the elements that saved me is what Carl offered you as well. So it's not just food, it's not just working out, it's not trying to figure out your diet. It's actually many type of food, many type of diet, all sorts of workouts and personalities, and all sorts of product, as in the Shakeology, to enhance your ability to have that support the best way possible in your home. And I think it's unbelievable. And the goal is to, please don't wait until you feel like you're going to die. Please don't think that when doctors don't have the answer, it means it's the end of you. There are answers everywhere. And so in so many ways, I am in love and with the platform, with our products, and with the why of why we do that. And I am so solid that I can hear thousands of YouTube videos of vilifying Beachbody. I have thousands of people telling me that I'm just taking advantage of people and charging so much more than I should because it probably cost me 10 cents. And, you know, I can hear all that and understand that that's purely human nature. Perhaps they were betrayed. Perhaps they tried many, many, many things and it didn't work. And so they don't trust anymore. God knows what their human history is that land them in front of us in that moment. You don't know what they went through that made them not be so receptive. Or perhaps it's just not their thing. Or perhaps they are absolutely broke. Now, when I was absolutely broke, I couldn't call and I wouldn't ever investigate because I knew I couldn't afford anything. But you never know. There may be a cry for help. So maybe somehow, somewhere you can help him still. Or if you're kind and compassionate and you give them whatever nugget in a short time that feels appropriate to you, when you realize that they're not going to be interested, you can still show up. You can still be a coach. You can still help another human being because they'll remember that you didn't shut them down because you didn't make a sale. So they were not objectified. You looked at them as human beings and you offered them compassion, and you can leave them with saying, if you think I can ever help you at some point and our products can help you or our platform can help you, please come back to me. Otherwise, I wish you the best. I hope you found what you need. And they'll remember, and that alone is healing. And that to me is being a coach. It's not in a cell. It's about the whole process from beginning until you hang up the phone or until you shut your computer. How did you handle the things that were not so easy? Because if you got into this job thinking you would show up, tell them what to get, and they'd be like, yay, I want it all. And each call would be a win like that. You're in for a loop because there's no job in life that will be like that. No matter where you go, no matter what platform you're at some point the honeymoon is over. And to me, the platform here, we built it together, all of us, for a long-term relationship. So the first 2 years are great honeymoon, sex is great, it's all fun, and then if you're 25 years later with 4 kids, guess what? You've had some challenges together, but it is precious because of it, and it's worthwhile because of that deep why you stay together. So it's the same thing with the platform to me. You can have a short-term relationship, or you can go for the long run, through the ups and downs, only if your why is real. So each negation is an opportunity to make sure that your why is real. And then your job is fun, no matter what. Maybe not easy, maybe not always easy. What is? Marriage is not easy. Raising a kid is not easy.
Marriage is easy.
Fun.
I'm joking.
But it's fun and it's rewarding and it's worth it because you're 100% committed into it. So that's my gap.
I love it. That was awesome. That we could end the call there. That was so good. I mean, I loved everything that you said, and I know people are taking notes like crazy, but it reminds me of something I tell my kids all the time. I tell them, and this is a big lesson I want them to stick in their brains forever, because my dad told me this all the time, and my mom as well. And I always said, and I tell them, I'm like, there's only winning and there's learning in life. And on the times that you learn is losing, and it doesn't really exist. Losing doesn't exist. It's only learning. And quite frankly, the times that you win, you don't really learn much, right? The times where someone's like, great, I'll buy it, awesome, good, put me in the challenge group, you didn't really learn that much. But on the times when someone has the objections or decides not to, and how you said, how you behave, and you still put them in the free group and you still support them, is almost more important than when you help someone, because those people that maybe don't get Shakeology are the ones that a lot of the times are going to go around talking about it, and you want them saying like, yeah, they were great, I got into a free group, I didn't have the income right now to do it. It doesn't really matter. And it's funny what you were saying, because with Beachbody, before, when it came to Canada in 2011, is when I found Beachbody, and it was because my wife had done it in 2006, and I was 240 pounds, and then I did the workouts. Wow. Yeah, and I lost, it was crazy, and I lost 80 pounds doing the workouts and eating better. But because we didn't have Shakeology yet in Canada, I was buying stuff at the store, like my own thing, kind of like.
I love that though. Because I tell people, I don't care, don't buy it. Then pick a few ingredients in the bag, in the back of the bag, and put it together. Help yourself somehow.
Yeah, and that's what I did, and it worked and then Shakeology came to Canada, and then quite honestly, I was probably spending $300 or $400 on just stuff, right? And I was kind of taking it whenever I could take it, and then and I remember the first time I took Shakeology and I bought it, and I just signed up as a coach, and I was like, I remember thinking, I hope this tastes good.
That's right, and we did that. We did that on purpose because, oh my God, isn't it much more pleasant to look forward to something?
Oh yeah.
Looking forward to something.
Yeah, once in a while I'll still make like a green smoothie or something, and I'll joke with my kids. I'll be like, hey, you want this? And it's got like all these things like spirulina and like all this stuff in it. They hate it. And but anyway, that's a great story. One thing I do want to kind of get into, because I love that, because I feel so blessed. Like I get to see you and Carl all the time. I get to be backstage sometimes with Carl. Like I know Beachbody like so well. And so to me, like what you said, it's so easy. It's never a question. Like the integrity of the product is like, I know these people. They would never lead me down the wrong path. And I think a lot of the coaches on this call right now, like, yes, they've seen your YouTube videos and they've seen you on TV and those types of things, but this is a very unique way for them to really engage with you. One thing that stuck out with me in that time that you talked in Mexico or in Dominican was when Carl first came to you and said, hey, let's make this Shakeology thing. And your answer at first was no.
Oh God, yes.
And that really intrigued me that you said no, and then what you told him after and why you decided to. If you could maybe just touch on that just for a little bit.
So I'm not sure the level of knowing people have here, but I had done shake through. So after learning about all these elements, putting it together for myself, cooking all these herbs and roots and all that, I tried to put that together for my clients as well. That worked out great. I could really be specific and really formulate for each individual. I ended up formulating for groups of people. I worked on the athletic field and also in the movie industry. And so I did. Then I started doing shakes for big groups, right? I think my biggest one at the time was like 300 people. And so it was part of my protocol. That's just what I did. I couldn't train a group of people or an individual without making a shake for them. It was too easy and beneficial to put all these elements in a smoothie that could enhance them on so many levels. So by the time I was with Carl and I was making smoothie and much more serum and extraction and all sorts of weird things that don't taste that great. But I was making smoothie for my son, for my nanny, for anybody friends, mothers, and for him. And they eventually asked me to make one for Beachbody. And it was a big, wide no, because I had gone through that with companies and for several reasons. And again, I'm not vilifying them. Now that I'm behind the scene, I can see the pressure and why they may have decided to do it. But they compromised the quality of the shake several times, where I walked away from being acknowledged, on the label. I walked away from bonuses or from my full payment because I basically walked away as soon as they compromised the shake. And so, every time that I work on a product, I care about it a great deal. So it was not a fun experience, emotionally and financially. But on this particular occasion, I married the CEO, and it was so scary in my mind, the idea that my man would compromise my product and my disappointment and would I be able to deal with it? Because I can't walk on this guy. I can't just say, that's it, I'm done. That, you know what I mean? That experience of your partner doing something that you have a really hard time wrapping your brain around and your heart around was a very scary thing for me. So I didn't jump in, and I was very hesitant. And then he promised me that he would not, and he hasn't. And it is hard to describe because there's so many things that legally we cannot share. But it is hard to describe with you guys how many times this guy could have compromised on it for very scary reason. How many times any kind of profit was back in the shake to continue to do better and better. He did incredibly. he was incredibly honorable about it and very committed, just as much as I am, or as you guys are. So thank God it just amplified the respect and who I know Carl is because of it. But it was not I was very hesitant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It's almost kind of like when I started Beachbody coaching, my wife was like, no. and then obviously she's a coach with me now, and we love it, and it's completely changed our life.
Good.
Yeah, so thank you so much, and thank you, Carl. I can't say that enough. But so on what you just said, so the next obvious question, and I'll get just a few little more technical-ish questions, just because
you go for it.
And so on that, perfectly. Why isn't it certified organic? I don't understand. If you're so great, I know, but.
I saw that question. I literally wrote down, because I talk about it and I answer that, but sometimes I can talk. So I want to make sure that it was very specific so you could write notes. So it was more, it was more lined up with bullet points. So let me go at it and make it as clear as I can possibly make it. And once I'm done, please do ask if people are really clear. Anybody still doubtful or still in the dark, not understanding the whys. So let me do this. I'm so glad you reminded me of this. Okay, so GMO and organic for Shakeology. That's my title here. So first of all, well, I'll go through you see, I'm about to talk again. So
I love it. This is perfect.
I'm just going to go and then I'm going to babble.
Yeah, I love it.
While we are not currently seeking to certify Shakeology non-GMO or organic, the possibility of a certified organic Shakeology formula is being researched. We formulated Shakeology without any GMO-based ingredients, and we require documentation from all of our ingredient suppliers that what they are supplying does not include genetically modified organisms. Now, there are over 60 ingredients used in Shakeology, sourced from across the world, which makes organic certification challenging. For example, Sasha Inchi, Yacun, and Maca are grown by numerous small farmers in Peru. Since these are grown in remote areas, often using centuries-old agriculture practices, obtaining certification requiring them to comply with the registration, documentation, and certification requirements would be quite challenging for them, especially if they don't speak English. Another challenge for organic certification is there is very limited commercial supply of organic whey protein for our non-vegan formulas. As such, in Shakeology, we only use whey protein isolate that has been purified through a gentle state-of-the-art cold filtration process. That's not the obvious one in most of the whey protein-based powder on the market. Most of them do not utilize this process, FYI. I still have to talk, right?
That's
It's
good.
among the highest purity whey protein commercially available. It is not demurred, it is alive, it's bioavailable. So it's not dead, guys. I saw that on YouTube and I was like, oh my God, they're not telling them the right processes that we're using in order to make it not demure and make it bioavailable, alive for you by the time you open your bag. So that, if you see that somewhere online, that is not true.
Yeah, people post that like every 6 months, and you coach will join and they'll post that.
Not true. It's on the FAQ. It is exactly what we're not doing. So I don't get that. It's one of those things, again, I'm like, wow, they don't do their research. But people totally buy it without searching, without researching if it's true. Is that true? So that's how they process it. I'm going to say it again. Has been purified through a gentle state-of-the-art cold filtration process, which keeps the highest purity whey protein commercially available. It is not demure, and it is alive. It's bioavailable. Okay, I'm done with that. There you go. That's my answer. Now, you have to understand also that I'm trying to figure out what I can and cannot say here, but the fact that it's organic does not mean that it passes all high quality standards by our research and development team, by our quality team, by our toxicity team. Sometimes it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And we test every batch. When you have a certification, it's not tested that often. There's a reason why we keep all our guys in white suits, to make sure that we can test it like mad. The soil, the compounds, and the constituents, as Darren uses that word a lot. I love that word. We test constantly to make sure those things are preserved and there by the time you ingest the Shakeology product. So that's not obvious when you have a certification, an organic certification. Does that mean I don't like it? Of course not. But if and when we can get, so by the way, when we can get organic, we get it. But organic that also passes all the other tests, our standard as well. So it's not, so sometimes we've had organic and we don't really dig it. We don't really think it's that the kind of quality we're looking for. So between all that and the volume that we need, it is quite a task. But as I read, we are on it, and whenever we can, when we get the volume, the quality we need, and the certification, we do it. It's interesting because it reminds me of the Daily Sunshine, the other product for kids.
Mm-hmm.
I got them all the certification they wanted, and now they're complaining that I should have done it for $30. I'm like, oh my God, we can never win.
Yeah. And in Canada, we don't have it. So
Not yet.
Well, that's just all the regulation stuff, right? And I mean, we know that here. We expect that.
Yes, it takes several years to make the changes required for your regulation, your FDA to approve. Yeah. But by the time you get the Shakeology, or by the time you get any other product, it's the same efficacy, it's the same quality. And whenever there's an ingredient that they refuse to allow in Canada, by removing that one, we check and make sure that any other ingredient that fits the bill, that has the same component, we put a lot more of that. So we always make sure that even though it may look slightly different, you're getting the same product.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. The other day, my wife and I, we did an experiment. We have a lady that helps us at our house now. Our team's huge, so she helps us, and we did an experiment, and we said, hey, go to the store and try and buy like these things. And we didn't say what specifically to buy. We just said we needed like cereal and yogurts and all these things. And we went to the store, and she knows we eat healthy, so she went and tried to get like all organic stuff, right? And it was funny to see all the stuff, because some of the stuff, and I can say this, maybe you can't, some of the stuff that's labeled organic now, that doesn't mean it's healthy. I'm like, that's great that it's organic, but I'm not eating that, And
you said it. I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't say it, but it is a really good point. And I think that's what's cool about Beachbody, at least for me, has been like, as I get more health conscious and I look at things differently and I start to wonder things more, I'm like, even to the point of like, where does this water come from? And how healthy is this water over that water? And like, we drink a lot of it, is the water, like just all these things start firing in your mind. I think we don't question enough things in our society sometimes, and I think that's a problem, right?
And also, I can see people wanting to stop questioning things because it's quite crazy out there what's going on. I can guarantee you that Darren and I and the team, oh my God, sometimes we wish we didn't know. It's like, no, don't tell me. No, I don't want to know. Because, there's some stuff that's quite discouraging. At the same time, there's amazing people, amazing companies that are trying to do the right thing. So, I discovered a lot of that stuff through the 25 years or so in this field. And I had the deep, dark night of the soul, about certain truth about our system. And so I lived through that depression. Yeah. And so by the time more of the same came by through our work on the Shakeology, I wasn't hit so hard because, and I believe that's probably the truth with Darren as well, but we did discover things where we're like, wow, I didn't think that was like that. So just so you know, whenever there's changes on the shake, it's always because something happened in the chain, supplier, vendor, processing, that, didn't live up to our standards, and we had to make some changes. It's never just, oop, we don't want that anymore. There's always a real health-based reason and decision there.
I love it. That's great. Another big question that gets asked a lot, and maybe you talk a little bit about it, is nursing, right? We obviously have a lot of nursing parents, and for some reason people become coaches and they have babies. So, so nursing parents, what should they do with Shakeology? We have everything, but that gets asked a lot. What's your answer? And what should
Yeah, we have that question everywhere, and then we keep having it asked. I have to say, like, there's a lot of things like what I just discussed. I can't go deep in details. I'm legally not allowed, because we're a big company, and there's certain things we have to not get into. So I understand it's frustrating for Darren and I, but I understand, and I welcome you guys to do your research. But I can, the only thing I can say is that you have to ask your provider, ask your doctor, consult and make your own decision according to what you think your needs are. Please, 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 if you're lucky enough to have an open, a doctor that's open to all these elements, because most doctors, have one class of nutrition in their years and years of study. So they're not that privy of what nutrition really is. And all these elements may feel very foreign to them. And so I don't blame them. If I don't know something, if I don't feel safe about something, I won't say go for it. I'll say, I don't know. I don't know these things. So I get where they're coming from, but you may have doctors that clear it and feel confident that this is good for you and your child, but that's a decision that you have to make with your doctor. Again, I highly recommend that you do read the ingredients, that you do Google it. Don't take our words. Don't just take what's written in the website. Go outside of us and go read about all these beautiful ingredients, botanicals and herbs and food, and discover what it does and what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love it. And I don't know if you see the chat or not, but people are giving suggestions and ideas, and they love what you're saying.
No, I don't see any of it because I find it distracting, and I want to focus.
Good. That's good.
It's like I'd be like in two places at the same time, and I don't want to do that.
I love it. That's I love that, and I think that's great. That's exactly what I say. I say, like, hey, take the bag, drink, here's the PDF file, take it to your doctor. That's exactly what I say. If anything, I'll tell a coach, I'll be like, just don't be shy of it. Don't like try and hide anything. Just tell them. Take the bag, ask your doctor. You think they'll? I don't know what they'll say, but take it to your doctor. They know best. And I think that's always the best thing to say.
And it's I think it's wiser for Beachbody on a pure human level. Pregnancy is precious. You're building a life. We don't know you individually. So I think it's actually, even on a human level, it's humbling to just say, it's not my place to decide for you in that specific time in your life where you're in charge of a little child as well.
Yes, 100%. So one of the things I want them to get to know you, because I know there's lots of YouTube videos that could do lots of research on their own. So I don't want to get, too sidetracked into all these things. So I find it kind of interesting, especially people like yourself that have been extremely successful in helping so many people, and even like new coaches, in the chat, let us know how many of you are new coaches in the last 3 months. There's a lot of coaches that come into this and they'll see, top coaches like Christina Delgado's, the Lindsay Matways and Melanie Mitros and all the successful people on stage at Summit. And sometimes I think they think, well, they must have never failed to get to where they are, and they, I could make a book on all the times I failed even before I started Beachbody, but I'm sure you could. And so because we're talking to you, maybe could you share with us a time in your life where maybe you quote unquote failed to achieve something that you were really going after, and how that process was and how it made you better in the end?
Oh my God, but I failed most of the time. My life is a series of failures. Like, honestly, it's like, I've always felt that it was a miracle that I made a living. It's a miracle that I'm here. And so I don't know. I want to say something that will help you guys, because it's not about me, right? But, oh my God, listen, if you think failing is bad, like, my husband has, I think, made a big speech on stage, one of those summit, where he talked about the zillion times that he failed. I felt, God, specific. Well, very often what we could be called failure. This is how often I failed, but it's not really a failure, but it shows you why my life was a little complicated. I'm barely learning to be politically correct. My languaging, the way I speak, is never scientific. Even the whatever years of schooling I've had, my deep personality, the person that I am, was always extremely intuitive. So let's say when I was doing track and field periodization training, I'm assuming most of you may know, but you periodize when you train an athlete. You do a period of strength and flexibility and all sorts of the different variables of all that. But you can't do everything at one time. You have to build their bodies progressively. And so there's a system and an allegory, and it's all set up there, and you have to follow the system. And my intuition was always very strong in me. So even when I was in a job where I had a system to follow, it was very hard for me to do that, because I'd be like, well, I know the paper is telling me to do that right now. I don't feel as ready for it. I think I should wait another week or so, or, so that's typical of Isabelle, how I process, or why I make choices that sometimes will seem counterintuitive, really, because it doesn't fit what seems to be the way to do things. And I literally do everything not the way it seems you should be doing things. So my life has been full of failure, because even for my own sort of survival on a financial level, I couldn't betray my own intuition. Now, most of the time it served me, and many times it made me fail. So then I understood what part of that intuition was more fear-based, not true intuition. And so it taught me no matter what. But I failed in that job. So eventually I was not hired as often to assist coaches, because it was hard for me to follow the rules that way. Now, does that mean that the rules are not right? Not at all. It just seems it was not my place. That's not where I was supposed to be. So I failed many, many times in the work field, even how I dealt with individuals, because I dealt with people my way. And I couldn't betray that within me. And so it made it hard for me to keep jobs. So most of the time I was sort of working for myself, and not a great sense of, I don't know, this is not part of this call. I don't want to waste your time, but
I love it. This is great.
Money was not a great incentive. So I was not very, what's the word? When you want more, you weren't
driven like for money.
I wasn't driven by success or fame. I know it sounds funny, and it sounds like it's full of shit, but it's the truth. So whatever, I'm saying it. Yeah. So fame, money, titles, all that was not really my drive ever. I think I can own that, because I really looked deeply into that to see if I was indeed full of shit. But it's not what drives me. Now, I ended up making money because I was so passionate and so committed to the things in life, like what created the Shake was very profound to me, my experience and my learning. And then I shared that with people, and it helped other people. So I always end up working with a group of people that got me and could work with me. And so, I found my place in the world, but I found my place by failing most of the time. But I was never depressed, and I was never regretting it, and I never thought I should have. I always thought, oh my God, what is wrong with me? You could have made so much money. What is going on, Isabelle, that you don't? What is this not compromising, blah, 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 right? I could never do it. So it made my life a little complicated, but I loved it. And I found my place, my way, through my incredible weaknesses and my incredible strength. And I discovered my joy and what thrilled me in life. And I pursued that one-track mind. And then the beauty of Beachbody is that somehow I fit in. Somehow I'm being gotten. Somehow some of the things that are dear to me are being shared, and I can pay it forward through Darren and the company and the platform and Mike and Nima and Richard and there's so many people at Beachbody that are sort of allowing me to be the awkward Isabelle and be there and provide what I can to now help others. And Carl is incredible because Carl has a very different brain than I do and works in a very different way. When I create a product, I will sit in front of the computer and search a zillion things, some that may seem appropriate and some that leads me in a rabbit hole in all sorts of areas that may not seem connected. And I will do that for weeks and it looks like I'm going nowhere. And then somehow it all slowly comes together and gel and I see the product, right? So it's a very different way than Carl works or than a scientific mind will go at things. And thank God I have people that compliment me at the company, but I'm allowed to be there. And I found this amazing company, this amazing man, and these amazing coaches that even are okay with listening to me right now. So never do I sit in front of this little camera thinking, oh, I'm so fantastic. And of course people want to hear from me. It's always a miracle that I am asked to be here and share. So once again, my life has put me in the perfect place where I'm completely joyous and honest in doing what I want to do in the way that I need to do it in order to be happy, to be at peace, to be congruent. And that reflects itself, I think, in all of us at Beachbody, in the Beachbody platform, in our products. Please ask me linear questions that you need to have answered, because I feel like I babbled and
no.
This is helpful in any way, shape, or form.
No, this is awesome. This is amazing because this is the stuff that we love to hear. And I think it's more important than anything because I'll tell my coaches all the time, you can go Google anything. You'll find 100 YouTube videos on how to rank advance or what flavors and all this stuff. And what's important is really the people behind the product. That's what I believe in. I know you're not watching the chat, but the chat's amazing. People are just like, they're getting to know you. They understand where you're coming from. They're like, your honesty and integrity is unbelievable. Actually, one person, I'll ask you this question. They want to know, of all the questions, they want to know, how did you and Carl meet? You mind answering that? I thought it was a neat question.
Well, it was an interesting question. I was actually, I had left LA and I had moved to Hawaii, to Kauai. I love Kauai. And I thought I was going to be there. And I was asked to come back to meet with Carl. I didn't know anything about Beachbody. I didn't know anything about infomercial. All that world was a very foreign world to me that I practically know nothing about. And I met Carl and I forgot which meeting was first, but just so you know, guys, I was fired twice. So you see, I fell on my face twice.
Fired from where? From
Beachbody. Carl fired me.
Oh, that's see. There you go. She was fired from Beachbody.
So I don't know how deep I can go into that. I think I would need him next to me to know what I can and cannot say. But basically, I was hired as a fitness consultant, and I was hired to make a video. I was not good for videos. Like one of the things I was terrible at is smiling and being like happy. I was way too serious. And then I remember that I had the people behind me doing the workouts that I was working on for a good year, at least at that point. And it was a very functional based workout. But I remember, even though Carl was filming to see how I was doing, it was impossible for me to see people with bad form and continue. Like, it drove me crazy. So I had to stop and correct them because I didn't want them to hurt themselves. And on it went. So anyway, I was not material for videos. So I was fired from that gig. And there was other reasons behind, but I don't want to expose too much. And then I was called back to, so I worked on that for a year or so. Then I was fired. And then he asked me for the shake. And so I had my concoction, right? That was way before I got together with him. That was years before we got together, because before I lived with him, he ended up drinking my shake anyway. But at the time I brought my shake and he didn't think it tasted too good. And I said, well, maybe it doesn't taste good, but some of those other, I said, I know mine might taste like shit, but others are shit. And that's the difference. So thank God for the Beachbody machine that allows us to work with the flavors, which takes sometimes up to a year, all these pungent flavors, all these potent herbs and botanical, and the bitterness, how to mesh them together, the synergy of all these strong, alive plants and ingredients. It is quite a thing to put it together and make it taste delicious without compromising the purity of it, without putting artificial flavor, preservatives, all that jazz that we don't want. So our suits at Beachbody allows us, they're the one who does that magic. And but I didn't have all that when I was doing it for Carl, so I was fired twice.
That's awesome.
So I don't know. I'm simplifying the story, and sometimes I miss what happened when, because it's been so many years.
That's great.
But yeah. So it was a funny meeting, and but I liked the vibe at the company. I remember that. I liked Carl, and I wanted to be there. It was something that I liked right away, because I'm so intuitive, right? So even fired, even being told whatever I was told, like I liked him, and I liked them, and I liked the platform, which was very different back in the days. I liked it. And so that told me a lot. I trust that a great deal. So that's my story.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. That's so great. It's we actually have a lot in common. I used to always have like an entrepreneurial mind, and I worked full time in a corporate job till Beachbody, but I always had like ideas, and I'd always do things differently, and I wouldn't get fired, but I was basically like, yeah, you should find a different job, because either you're threatening the boss above you, or you're doing things kind of, because my mind has just always been like, how can I work this better? And I don't believe that everything has to be this way. Things can be different.
That's what I love about the platform, because sometimes I look at you, but then I remember that I have to look at the little hole. But that's what I love about a platform, guys, because you are your own boss, right? You are your own CEO. And so your uniqueness, do it your way. That's the beauty of this platform. You don't have to do it any other person's way. Have fun with it. Be creative. It's so much more pleasant. And that's also why we have all these boosts, right? Somebody was asking me why the boost, because you can formulate it and be more creative and get to know your body, get to know thyself, meaning that if you drank too much on a weekend, add a few green boosts. If you're having too much coffee, heartburns, too much acidity in your system, try the energy one. Try the ones that will still help you with your energy level, but actually helps your body as opposed to not. Fiber, everybody knows that we need fibers. You may have a week where you eat terrible on vacation. Throw that fiber boost in there where you know that you're not doing what's right for your body in that vacation, let's say. So it was to make you even more able to be your own formulator. We want to give you the tools that works for you in your lifestyle. And that's what I love about our programs and our products. And the 3-day refresh was that too. I was watching people do things, trying to lose weight through having the Shakeology every day, 3 times a day. And I was like, wait a second. And they were happy about it. I wasn't happy about it because it wasn't designed for that. And to me, it was not the best way to handle their bodies. So I said, let's create a 3-day refresh, that will help them accomplish those goals on a weekend or for an event, but the healthy way. And so that's why creativity at Beachbody is very, very welcomed. Is there any question?
I love that. No, I love that. That's great. We just have 2 more questions, and then we'll be wrapped up. But I love what you said about the 3-day refresh, because one of the things that comes to mind sometimes is, I see all these companies kind of like, and I can say this, I know you can, is like, I see all these companies come and go, like they're selling makeup, toothpaste, and like they worry so much about another product. And what I felt with Beachbody over the last 5 years is Beachbody isn't a company that just comes out with a product just because we have to have another product. I think it's always a company that like is really like, how can this serve a purpose, and how can that help this? And even in 5 years, I've seen Beachbody remove certain things, and it's because didn't really have a place. And so whenever a new product comes out from Beachbody, I've always felt really good about it from a character perspective, that like, this is great, we should use this as well, and do 3-day refresh and do Shakeology and add the boost. And it's not like we're just making something just to sell something. I love that.
No, there's always a great purpose and a perceived need. So if you feel that there's a need, then we will try to cater to that if we are the right one to do it, and if we can do it right. Is there any questions down there?
They're just typing a lot of things. So one of them is, do you recommend Shakeology only once a day? And someone else said, is it okay to skip Shakeology? So maybe you can answer those two.
Well, is it okay to skip Shakeology? It's okay to do whatever it is you want to do. You cannot drink the Shakeology. But basically, to me, the reason why we say drink it every day, what's it called? Your daily dose of deep nutrition, right? Mm-hmm. It is dense nutrition. It is all the elements, the missing links in our diets, all the elements that are challenging to get through your eating habits. It's the perfect meal, right? It's all the things you need that you may be challenged getting, and it's in a potent form and a delicious form. So to me, it's almost like saying, well, if I have the perfect meal with the perfect amount of everything on my plate, and the recommended dose of fiber and phytonutrients and vegetables and fruits and legumes and nuts and seeds and the right amount of protein and I have this beautiful meal one day, can I skip the next 2 days? Or can I have it one day and then I'm okay for 7 days? It's like, I get that question, but I don't get it, because perhaps what is forgotten, it's a meal, it's whole food, it's the best that we could do and deliver in a delicious smoothie form. So do you think your body does not need at least one meal like that? And to me, that's the thing. Does it mean if you drink the Shakeology, you cannot deal with your diet after and before Shakeology? No, you have to look at your eating habits as well. But you've got a daily dose of deep, dense nutrition, cellular food in that smoothie. You've got that. Why would you not think that your body needs that every day, when we know how far behind we are with our eating habits, how far behind we are when we understand the quality of the air, the soil, the food itself is just not what it should be. It has changed a great deal. It has compromised a great deal. This is why it's so hard to make the Shakeology happen, because the suppliers, the chain is just compromised in many, many places. So that's why your body needs that. That is nature. That is what your body recognizes and needs to be strong and healthy. It wants it every day for you to be at work, deal with your kids, be sick, take care of your husband or your husband to your wife, whatever, take care of each other. Stuff happens. Like, your body needs to be fed at the cellular level. Why would you not want it every day? And, we all know that we don't get healthy by eating only one good meal once in a while, 2-3 times a week. We all know we need a lot of good foods in every day of our lives to be healthy. We know that, but we don't do it. And we know that if we did that, we would be silly to think that we will have optimum health. We are looking for the best health you can possibly achieve through natural means. So that's why I think you should have, if you like Shakeology, if you bought Shakeology, if you believe in Shakeology, yes, every day. Can you skip? Of course you can skip. I'm not going to show up at your door and force you to drink it. But of course you can. But why? Why would you? Especially if you bought it, if you have it.
I love it.
One good dense meal a day is better than none.
Yeah, like when I started I didn't realize what would happen with coaching, but my first kind of financial goal was, I just want to have Shakeology for free, because that'd be amazing if I could just
That's right. And some will be satisfied with that, and that's okay.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it really is. And I'm not just saying that, like it changed my life. I've been able to keep my weight off. I mean, you wouldn't recognize me if I showed you how I looked like before. Do you mind if I ask you? I know we're done with time. Do you mind if we go for like 5 more minutes and I ask you a few more?
Go for it.
So another one that I had was the protein thing. You said, why is the fact that protein is alive still? Why is that important? They don't understand. Like,
well, it's important for the same reason that you don't want a dead broccoli. Right? You know those limpy broccoli that are white, and you look at it and and you eat it and it's not there, as opposed to a well-preserved broccoli that you don't overcook or you eat it raw. You can feel the difference. It's the same thing in your protein. Protein is food. We kind of forget that, right?
yeah.
It's food in powder form. We forget that protein, just like the botanical, just like your veggies, your fruits, just like the enzymes in it, everything has to be alive to provide you with the magic, with the constituents, the compound in it that is what your body wants. So same thing with protein. It has to be alive. It has to be bioavailable. It has to be processed in a way that your body will easily process it. You process the product in a way that allows your body to process it easily and effortlessly and get the reward of what is in that food that your body needs. Does that make sense? Can you ask the same person if that makes sense?
Yeah, they'll answer right away. It's just coming. She said yes, absolutely, with an exclamation mark. And they said thank you very much. That was Jessica.
You're welcome.
And
somehow we think protein is different than, so everything we say is just as true with protein and macro ingredients. Any macro ingredients, rice has to be a good healthy rice.
Yeah, like every single thing in that bag could be like drastically different, right? Like,
oh my God, yeah. No, it's not just because we have the name and the ingredient in the ingredients list that it's all that it's cracked up to be. It is what potency, what quality, how alive is it, how bioavailable is it? And that's why we have the enzyme blend, the digestive blend. That's why we have the prebiotic, probiotic, digestive enzymes, and our fiber. That is to enhance your body's ability to take from food what it can and process it. And also enzymes are responsible for all sorts of functions in your body you need. So, there's a reason for everything in there.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. Like, I have a friend that, because I used to work at Microsoft in marketing, and I have a friend that went on to do some other stuff, and he does like online marketing. And so I chat with him once in a while. Super nice guy, doesn't understand health and fitness. So but anyway, I won't mention the product or the name or anything. But basically, long story short, they went to China and they gave him a list of ingredients that they wanted made, and they got back a bag that now they're selling online and they're making money on it. But and it's got like all the right ingredients that it should have, but it's like, I know for a fact that the ingredients that are in there are not necessarily the best of those ingredients, because you can get so much stuff in China. It's absolutely amazing. And I know you probably can't talk about it, but
not really. But we all know the pollution out there is crazy. Yeah. We all know that open pods, ingredients, open pods will absorb the pollution in the air. So sometimes even if the soil was good, let's say, if it absorbs all the pollution in the air, well, guess what? You're eating that. So sometimes it's, those are the reason why certain stamps sometimes don't, it doesn't mean don't look for it. Listen, we try to look for it. If we have the stamps and we have the quality and we can have enough of the volume, fantastic. But you have to do due diligence.
Yeah. Some people are saying, I don't know if you can talk about this either, but they're saying that they find that their hair and nails grow better. Like,
good. Again, I can't, there's so much goodness that we hear. There's so many results that we hear that we cannot mention.
Yeah, like this is awesome. People are like, I can't. The reason I'm not asking you as many is people are saying thank you. They're saying IBS and like all these things.
Beautiful.
I don't even want to go into it because this is recorded. But
I'm so happy.
There's so many things from someone that was like on chemo and it made them feel better. Again, not talking to me.
Nice.
There's tons of stuff like that. So just so you know.
She was on chemo and she's here now. Way to go.
Yeah, so that's amazing. Someone else just said, can they drink it more than once a day? Like,
yes, I think so. Right? But you know what? I bet the answer is please ask your doctor.
Yeah, that's true, eh? That's awesome. That's great. Okay, so I don't want to keep everybody too long, but so I have two more last questions. One, do you have any like favorite personal development books or things that you like to, I say, geek out on? when you're alone, you got, Carl's exhausted or he's traveling and it's just you. And what do you read? What do you
You're
listen
funny. You really think my life is different than what it is. I used to read before my kid. Because when Carl is gone, Danny's sleeping in my bed.
Yeah.
And there is no reading.
That's
But
good.
it's lovely. There's long chats and beautiful talk, and that's even better. You know, the books I read, Carl will probably smile at that. I'm not sure you guys will be into, but I'm a big fan of, Eckhart Tolle, and I'm a big fan of Carolyn Myss. I read the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know, I'm big. I'm big in that type of thing. I love them. They remind me of that which is true and powerful, kind, and it reminds me of the aliveness that makes me be here now, that has nothing to do with anything but the pleasure of sharing myself with others, and the pleasure of seeing your face and hearing the beautiful things. Doesn't mean that you agree with me, but just, these people are, that's what I read more than anything. That's what I listen to on YouTube. The beings that remind me of the why, the ultimate why of why I'm here. And it chokes me, and it puts me in such a place in my life every day. So call it the magic of life, call it God, call it consciousness. But I'm very deep into listening to these people's voices and reading their words. Again, I've never been driven. I'm realizing at 50 that was my drive my whole life. What is that deep place in me that allows me to just be here, and how can I connect with that, and everything else is secondary. How can I be there and move and create from there? And how can I look at another human being and not label them for what they can do for me, how I can use them, what I can get from them? Would be surprised how often, we eye a being and we look at what they look like and what they're saying. Are they a threat? Should I be threatened by that individual? Is it going to take from me? And all these things that we do without realizing it. And so getting into that place of not being threatened by another's beauty, another's success, another's drive, another's quality, another's youth, so that there is no craving for that, so that I can go even deeper in me and create from that place. And so that I'm on this call for that alone. Of course, I'm talking and sharing the products and the platform. That's where I fit in right now. But the deep place where I'm at is, can I speak and share what we do or what I am without harming another? How good can I be at not harming another through my interaction with them? How solid I am deep in my beingness, that if someone attacks me, that attack is just has nothing to do with that which I am. And so these beings that are talking to us through YouTube now, the beauty of technology, and reading their words, that's my motivation. That really is my motivation. And it's untouchable. That's the beauty of it. It's untouchable. And that made me a potent being in my life, in terms of the people that I talk to every day, that are with me every day, to remind myself of honoring that in them. And so when there's a disagreement, and when there's misunderstandings, or when there's hurt, to do the best that I can to go back to that place. And that allows me to have more clarity and an ability to respond to a situation as opposed to react at the situation, so that I don't create more harm in my response. And so that's my big drive. And so I'm leaving you with that. I think the reason why I'm saying that is that through the years, as I watch the Beachbody platform, sometimes I feel people lose their way. They forget to honor the other individual, to honor themselves, and that they're not salesmen. They're human beings, hopefully wanting to enhance another human being. And we're not there to judge or be judged or feel defensive, or, that the platform is not about the tiara. It's not about the title Diamond Coach. It's not about your six-pack. I'm so sorry. I'm glad you have it. I'm glad that you feel good about it. I'm glad that you feel proud of your body. But more than proud of your body is in love with your body, is understanding the beauty of all the work that it does for you day in and day out, constantly keeping you alive, allowing you to have experiences that are precious, that are, unforgettable. And being healthy allows that in many ways. And so we are in the business of helping each other be well and be healthy. Everything else is icing on the cake. And so, I don't want us at Beachbody to lose that opportunity to provide wellness, not only in our products, but how we are with each other.
I love it.
How are we with each other? So I will leave you with that.
I love it. That was beautiful. That was amazing. I have nothing else to say. You made me speechless, and the team will tell you I'm usually a really good talker. so thank you so much for giving us your evening. Also, guys,
you're very welcome.
I know how precious that is, and really thank you from the bottom of my heart for creating Shakeology. It's just amazing that we get to drink it and as well, quite honestly, like serve it to other people. It's really a way of serving for all of us. And so thank you.
Thank you all so very much. The gratitude is right back at you.
Thank you, guys. Well, with that, you've been hanging with us, and thank you so much, Isabelle, for joining us. Have a great night. Take care.
Thank you. You as well.
You should know I believe in you. Every race you run, you're my number one. Kick it up now and bring it on. This will be your day.